एक बीमारी पैदा हुई चाइना में, कोरोना। हम हंसे। विद इन डेज पूरे के पूरे शहर बंद हो गए। हमने कहा सही है, बैट बैट खाएंगे, यही होगा। WHO ने कहा पूरे वर्ल्ड में फैलेगी। हमने कहा वर्ल्ड में ना, इंडिया में नहीं आता ये सब। आज लग रहा है काश 2 हफ्ते पहले सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग कर ली होती। एक और बीमारी है जो छूने से नहीं फैलती लेकिन बहुत तेजी से फैल रही है। इसका नाम नहीं बताऊंगा मैं। डी से शुरू होता है और जैसे कोविड के सिम्टम्स नॉर्मल वायरल की तरह लगते हैं, इसके भी सिम्टम्स बस मूड स्विंग्स की तरह लगते हैं। अगर नौकरी गई है, ब्रेकअप हुआ है, किसी की डेथ हुई है, या ऐसे कोई भी रीजन से स्लीप साइकिल डिस्टर्ब्ड है, भूख नहीं लगती, काम में ध्यान नहीं लगता, किसी चीज़ का गिल्ट है, तो इसको लाइटली मत लो। हाँ, हम तो बहुत स्ट्रांग है, हमें नहीं हो सकता, लेकिन शायद किसी और को होने से बचा सकते हैं। अवेयरनेस में बुराई क्या है?
Good evening. Glad to meet you, Karthik.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Same here. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Most important question. Do you know Devdas?
Yes?
Because I won't be using the D word. I'll be calling it Devdas in the interview.
नहीं, ऐसा नहीं करना है कि आपको courage होना है डिप्रेशन को डिप्रेशन बुलाना.
Because ma'am, you don't know how scared I am to do this episode, by the way. मुझे डर लग रहा है कि फैन से पिटूंगा. I mean, why so many misconception? Why does anyone talking about mental health gets trolled?
We are all at fault to a degree. हमारा responsibility है public को सिखाना इस पे. Because once you know what it is not so scary. Lots of people do not have your courage, your vision, and your ability to inform people about what really depression is. And it's only people with maturity and courage who will talk about this. Because 50 years ago, we would act this way about tuberculosis, about leprosy, about typhoid, cholera, other communicable diseases. And look, today, we've eliminated all of them. It doesn't exist.
इतनी बड़ी बड़ी दिग्गज बीमारियां हैं हमारे पास, कैंसर, डायबिटीज, हार्ट डिजीज, इनके बीच में यू थिंक कोई चांस है दैट पीपल विल टेक मेंटल इलनेस सीरियसली?
Depression occurs in 1 out of 4 or 5 people in the world. Depression is the most common mental illness, or in fact, will be the #1 cause of disability in the world in this decade. Depression, on the other hand, unlike cancer or unlike diabetes or a number of other conditions, can be completely treated, and individuals can be restored to full function and full potential if they get treated.
There's a friend of mine says, he says there is a vaccine against all mental illness. It's called beer. So, okay.
So let's just focus on depression because there are many mental disorders. Depression is an easily treatable condition. And beer is a central nervous system depressant. Alcohol is a central nervous system depressant. It's only going to make the depression more pronounced and more difficult to treat if you're starting to use your own street-bought chemicals to treat your mind. So beer, drugs, sleeping pills, all of those things are very temporary and frankly will only worsen the illness.
What are the most common signs? How do I check myself or a family member or friend for mental illness?
What's important is to see if the person is feeling sad day after day, 24 hours a day, without a break for 2 weeks or longer. So it isn't like, my dog died and I'm feeling sad and then you get over it. It is something that does not change and cannot be influenced by somebody talking to them because it's so persistent. So it's persistent and pervasive for 2 weeks or longer. The second thing is sleep disturbances, where either the person wakes up very early, is unable to fall asleep, has deprived sleep, loss of appetite, loss of concentration, loss of attention to day-to-day activities, loss of pleasure in usual activities. I love to watch a cricket match, but now I'm watching a cricket match. It doesn't do anything for me. The person complains of fatigue, complains of lack of interest in anything. Person says, I can't concentrate. I'm not able to study when I go to college. I try and read it, but I have to reread it to get this information into my head. I'm not able to work on my business. I don't feel like I love my family. I feel like I caused them pain. So a lot of guilt and self-blame about things, even small things. Sometimes people will go to an extreme. I'm the reason that boy had an accident on the road, which you know is not possible. But people will blame themselves. And then lastly, thoughts of death, preoccupation with dying, preoccupation with not going on, hopelessness. And those are things that you need to look at. In India,
Mhm.
depression also is much more prevalent among younger people. The risk of untreated depression is suicide.
Does mental illness always end up in suicide? And is suicide always because of mental illnesses?
Typically, suicide almost always is associated with depression. But
Okay.
mental illness or depression doesn't always end in suicide. There are many degrees of depression. There are many people who understand they need to get help, and they do. And frankly, the more we talk about depression in everyday terms, the more likely people are to reach out.
If me or someone I know is heading towards depression, what can one do immediately and when do we see a doctor?
If you are not able to talk to your family members, talk to your best friend, talk to your primary care doctor, but reach out to somebody. Keeping it to yourself is not helpful. So a lot of people have anxiety that comes with depression, bahut chinta about something or the other. It's very important to say, I need to talk to my doctor, because 80% of people who suffer from depression first see their primary care doctor. And that doctor will guide them about where to go for help and who to see.
For common illnesses like cold, cough, fever, we trust that whichever doctor we will see uh, will most of the times, give us the right medicine. Is the infrastructure just as good for mental illnesses?
Yes, it is. We have the internet, we have Google, we have all kinds of amenities to research where the nearest center is where you can go. Now, with the Mental Health Act of India that Modi started in 2016, they require primary care practitioners to be linked with a psychiatric care facility. So even in the villages, they are trained to know where they should send the patients.
आप कभी दुखी नहीं होते? आपको गुस्सा गुस्सा नहीं आता? Like, when was the last time you lost your temper?
Sab aata hai. And maybe yesterday I was upset that someone had not called me. So we're all capable of
Was it
anger.
me when I was just gonna interview you yesterday and I didn't call
This
you?
is this is a delight. No, not at
Are
all.
we reaching out to each other right now?
Yes, yes, yes. What I'm saying is, yes, of course you get angry, you get disappointed, and you can get profoundly sad if you lose somebody who is very near and dear to you. It's only when people change in their own behavior and are simply not communicating in the way they used to that you need to be concerned.
मुझे मैम कभी गुस्सा आता है तो मम्मी बोलती है कि इसकी शादी करा दो. Is she right?
For some reason, Indian thinks shadi is the answer to everything.
मेरी एक फिल्म के बारे में बात करते हुए किसी ने इंसल्ट करने के लिए कहा कि ही इज बिहेविंग लाइक अ स्पैज, लाइक डिप्रेशन पिल्स लेना भूल गए जैसी बातें. अगर हम डिप्रेशन को इंसल्ट करने के लिए यूज करेंगे तो हाउ विल डिप्रेस्ड पीपल एवर एक्सेप्ट दे आर डिप्रेस्ड, लेट अलोन डू समथिंग अबाउट इट?
You are absolutely right, Karthik. That's a very immature approach. It does not help the person who's depressed. It is our responsibility collectively as people to talk about depression in the same terms as we talk about hypertension, diabetes, cancer, rheumatoid arthritis, any other medical problem. You would not make fun of somebody because they forgot their pills for hypertension. Why would you make fun of somebody for forgetting their medicines for depression? So if somebody has a skiing accident and broke their leg, you don't make fun of them for staying on medications to get their leg better. It's the same way. Depression is a medical condition. You treat it, you recover from it, you go through a period of recuperation and healing, and you're normal again. That's the most important message people must get. Because guess what? Any one of us could be in that circumstance. It's not just the person that you're seeing in the film.
It is still believed that mental health is only a first world concern. How true is this?
Totally untrue.
Oh,
Mental illness affects the whole world the same way. Affects the rich, affects the poor, affects the people in the village, affects people in the cities. The rate of depression is precisely the same across all health sectors, across all socioeconomic backgrounds.
what is Project Mansi?
So Project Maanasi is something I started 22 years ago in a village called Mugalur in the state of Karnataka. When I first came to the United States, medical care in India was not as advanced. And I went for my residency interview at Johns Hopkins Hospital, and the chairman asked me, if people like you leave India, Dr. Jayaram, what happens to your country? And that stuck with me for a long time until I was able, through Rotary, to start a program which is actually an integrated community psychiatry program. Now we have trained local women, village women, as caseworkers. You don't need to be a specialist. You can diagnose depression if you're taught how to do it. So we now have patients coming from 212 villages. They are so well informed that they will come to you and say, I have bejar kaile, which in Kannada means I have depression.
आपको इंडिया वापस लाने के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा?
I come every year.
मैं हमेशा के लिए बोल रहा हूँ इंडिया लाने का.
हमेशा के लिए आ नहीं सकती.
If someone wants to help this cause, what can we do?
Yeah, so the first step is to educate people about what it is, and you're doing that. 2, we have to be able to say, here are some hotlines to call, here are phone numbers to call, here are institutions in your community you can approach. And 3, we need to be able to talk about it, like Deepika Padukone talks about her illness. Talking about it makes it more acceptable, and talking about it also means that you have now faced this issue, taken care of it, you're now returned to normal function, and that means others can do it also.
मैं अभी एक सेक्शन में जाता हूँ, which is myth versus fact. Alright. Psychiatrist के पास पागल लोग जाते हैं.
Myth, because psychiatrists treat all kinds of neurological and psychiatric disorders.
Once started psychiatric medications, they never stop.
Myth.
If you go to a psychiatrist, you can never be successful in career.
Total myth. There are people who have been presidents of countries, very successful lawyers, very successful doctors, IT professionals. I've treated every single one of these people. They are highly successful.
Kartik Aaryan's movies improve mental health by 10 times.
Maybe. I'll tell you, I can certainly give your show a prescription to others as a prescription, because if they want to introduce some levity in their life, some laughter and some good times, that's an added prescription for depression.
I wanted to share this with you that my sister, Kittu, उसको psychiatrist बनना है. So this interview was actually to get in touch with you. तो please उसकी नौकरी लगवा दीजिए ना आप.
Well, let her write to me. We'll talk about it and see. I have lots of contacts and I will be happy to help.
वो पूरा दिन मीम्स पेजेस ये सब देखती रहती है. वो आपकी असिस्टेंट भी बन जाए वो बहुत है. उसको असिस्टेंट बना के रहूंगा मैं आपकी. तो how do we end this on a positive note?
In my years of practice, and that spans over 3 decades, I have never seen such remarkable progress in research in the treatment of mental illness. Now, we are at the cutting edge of 2 extraordinary pieces of research. One is in the use of something called psilocybin, which the ancient Native Americans used in this country. But it's a derivative made from magic mushrooms that's being used that really actually changes the way the brain operates so that you experience a absolute ultimate bliss like our Maharishis used to have in transcendental meditation. The second product that's also through exhaustive research is something called ketamine. Ketamine takes away suicidal thoughts in 3 hours. We're not talking days, months, years. We're talking 3 hours. And to be able to actually access this knowledge and then apply it and then make it available to the world is a very exciting proposition in the treatment of mental illness. And people will be, believe me, scrambling for it in a few years.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, your views on everything. And I myself feel so, that I've gotten to know so much.
Thank you for your kindness and your compassion for people with depression. Appreciate it.
अपने बच्चों को डॉक्टर बनाना सबको पसंद है. साइकियाट्रिस्ट भी तो डॉक्टर ही होते हैं. डॉक्टर बन जाए तो प्राउड, डॉक्टर के पास जाना पड़ जाए तो शर्म. ऐसे कैसे चलेगा? छोटी छोटी चीजों पे बड़े बड़े स्टिग्मास लग गए. कोई बात नहीं, मिल के निकाल देंगे. थैंक्स टू डॉक्टर गीता एंड सृजन प्रोजेक्ट फॉर फैसिलिटेटिंग दिस. गुड न्यूज. आज की पहली गुड न्यूज, किंचुक की नौकरी लग रही है अमेरिका की मशहूर साइकियाट्रिस्ट डॉक्टर गीता के यहाँ. मुबारक हो.
सैलरी कितनी मिलेगी?
तू धक्के खा, तू स्ट्रगल कर, तेरे लिए वही सही है. सच कहे किसी ने सिफारिश लगाना ही पाप है. एनीवे, गुड न्यूज नंबर 1. केरला के बीजू रविंद्रन यूरोप के क्रोएशिया में नेशनल हीरो बन गए. उनकी बिल्डिंग में जब आग लगी और एक माँ और 2 बच्चे फंस गए, बीजू ने फायर ब्रिगेड का इंतजार नहीं किया. अपने पड़ोसी के लैडर मंगवा लिए, खुद चढ़ के वेंटिलेटर तोड़ के उनको बचा लिया. नेशनल न्यूज चैनल से लेके शहर के मेयर तक हर जगह बीजू छाए हुए हैं और उन्हें ढेर सारे नौकरियों के ऑफर्स भी आ रहे हैं. नंदम बक्कम हेड कांस्टेबल पी सेंथिल कुमार को जब पता चला कि उनके पड़ोस की 5 साल की कविष्का की ओपन हार्ट सर्जरी पैसों की वजह से रुकी हुई है, तो उन्होंने ना सिर्फ अपने 30,000 रुपए डोनेट किए, बट पुलिस स्टेशन के कलीग्स, गवर्नमेंट वेलफेयर स्कीम और कुछ स्पॉन्सर्स से मिला के पूरे 5 लाख रुपए कलेक्ट किए और कविष्का की सर्जरी करवाई. गुड न्यूज नंबर 3. जोधपुर के सरदारपुरा में आजकल हर शाम एमएलए मनीषा पनवर का ऑफिस मेंटल हेल्थ सेंटर बन जाता है. साइकियाट्रिस्ट, साइकोलॉजिस्ट, सोशल एक्टिविस्ट, एडवोकेट सब यहाँ इकट्ठा होते हैं फॉर हेल्पिंग एंड काउंसलिंग ऑफ द पीपल डीलिंग विद स्ट्रेस एंड डिप्रेशन इन दीस टफ टाइम्स. हाँ,
ट्रैफिक स्टाइपेंड तो मिलेगा.
हाँ, तू एक काम कर, ये ले, उधर, ये ले, 20 रुपए.
नहीं,
ले, इधर आ, इधर.